Alright, it's Friday night after work. I'm somewhat dejected. I've done almost everything I can think of to try to find a way to get this turbo system repaired so I can just bolt it together because it was working. Hand signals, you know. And looks like I'm out of luck. I took it to a local turbo repair shop. It's supposed to be a real good outfit. They said they can't help me. Parts for this thing are obsolete. They said it's a AR82, and they can't. They can get the center housing, but they can't get the exhaust turbine wheel or the compressor wheel. So that's a bummer. The problem why the one I put together, the one I rebuilt, disintegrated is the shaft was bent just a little bit on the compressor wheel side, and the vibration, of course I didn't have it balanced, the vibration took it out. So the reason that one failed is because of the tech who built it. He didn't know what he was doing. But you know, sometimes you'll have that. So now there's a place out in the Midwest. Wait, my phone's ringing. You know, that's the price you pay when you work all the time. Anyways, where was I? So now the dilemma is, how am I gonna fix this whole fiasco? I talked to the man down there at the turbo shop, and he says he can't help me with that. But this is a Grand National turbo, which is fairly readily available, it appears. So he recommends I go with something that's a little bit more you can get parts for, which he's probably right. Doggone, the phone's ringing again. I'm going to have to chew my cabbage again, I guess. Maybe I'll have to use the editing tool. So, this came from that Trans Am stuff, Turbo 301 Trans Am stuff I bought on eBay, where the turbo is total junk, which I'm a little disappointed about. But here's my plan so far. I'm thinking I am going to use this piece with the adapter to the Quadrajet, which you can't see here. I'm just making hand motions so you can imagine it. And I'm going to use the Grand National Turbo, and I believe, see, that comes out, it fits together. I'm going to use the Grand National Turbo, and I'm going to order a Grand National Exhaust 90, which I do not have. Actually, it would come this way. So I'm hoping that the inlet and the outlet on the exhaust comes fairly close to the pipes I have. I know I'm going to have to cut them apart and tweak them a little bit, but you know, it is kind of artistic how they run through there, and I'd like to maintain that symmetry just for aesthetic reasons. That's a lot of big words for a dumb old redneck. And you know, we'll see how things play out here. I do like the idea of, let me just turn the camera off. I do like the idea of using this on the intake to make everything a little bit more rigid and easier to level everything up, I think. So I'm going to disassemble what's still on there, and I'm going to pursue that a little bit. I'm not going to be able to work on it very long tonight, but there's always tomorrow. I'm going to do enough where I can get my brain percolating and see if I don't come up with a better idea. So the purchase on eBay, I don't think it's going to be a total loss, but it might be. The other option, of course, I was thinking about is use the Grand National housing, which would clamp to what I've got there already, I think. But we'd have to cut this off right here. And then cut this off right there and weld the two together. Which might not be a bad idea, because that would lend me the opportunity to put a 90 on it. Maybe get it a little off the valve cover, but Anyways, I'm going to take that apart and I'm going to study it on a little bit. Get things percolating, you know. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The weather report. It's warm. I'm in t-shirts. T-shirt shirt sleeves. Like 62. And rainy. Rainy. Once again. You know, I used to work with an old superintendent in the construction. He was a superintendent for the general contractor. His name was Frank. And Frank was the old school superintendent. He didn't mess around. He didn't suffer no foolishness, let me tell you what. But one thing he told me was, son, there's 3 things you got to worry about in construction. That's water, water, and water. Alright, I got the other piece off and I'm kind of doing some roughing in stuff here. I got to be careful not to bend the fins on the compressor wheel here, doing things one-handed, but that's kind of how that looks with the Grand National stuff. I'd have to change that. That's 2 inch, and I think that's an 1 3/4 hose, and I'd probably have to make a larger one there. The advantage to this is I could probably make my carburetor be more over here. However, with a Trans Am piece, I might be able to get the whole business parallel with the valve cover over here. Let me investigate that a little bit. I'm leaning that way more and more. Another thought I've had is I got one of them Chinese $109 turbos up there, which I could also make work. But I really want to use this old stuff. Well, because I'm hard-headed for one thing, and for another thing, I like using old stuff. You know. So anyway, I think that's the direction I'm headed. I'm going to do that. And if the whole business don't work, maybe I'll use a Chinese turbo on it later. Or maybe I'll use that Chinese turbo on something else. You know, I do have other ideas in mind. And also, I think I bought another truck. Also, I just got something come in from eBay. Mama just brought it up here. Sorry y'all missed her, but I was on the phone doing work stuff, and she's done come and gone. But here's what it was. I got this off of eBay. This is what I was mentioning in one video. I wanted for the air cleaner. Now that little nubbin right there locates it, but we can modify that. This is what I got in mind. So that I can close my hood as long as I'm modifying everything. And it goes to an air cleaner down here. That's exactly what my 1980 Monte Carlo turbo had, but I don't have it anymore. Well, now I got that one. And somebody come to visit me. Who the heck is it?
Hi!
Hi! I'm not going to show her. Alright, I got all that stuff apart. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, instead of having everything all crooked and walkie-jawed there, I'm going to use this. I'm going to build me a new adapter. And I'm going to mount that turbo something like so. Which should be low enough for me to close my hood. And I'll have to modify my exhaust stuff here some. I'll have to give that a minute's thought. But I think that's doable. Might have to pick that up a little bit to make that 90 work there. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Offset it a little bit. Get it away from that valve cover. Get it over there. And if I can find a bulge for the hood like was on that old Monte Carlo I had, I might put that on the hood. Maybe. Anyways, I can't hang out here much longer because I got to go in the house and, you know, do what normal folks do. But even though I'm not normal, but I'll be back. Another thought before I head to the house. You know, this is a bummer having this setback, but the reality is, it ain't that big of a deal. And it'll work out better. So, you know, it'll be okay. I shall not despair. Alright, it's covered up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see if the clattery went away. Uh-oh. This is where a fat man has problems. Yep, it went away. That's good.